when chasing down bad guys. But he had the looks and manners that allowed him to effortlessly interface with witnesses and his coworkers with an efficiency that belied how difficult his job really was at times. I checked my watch. Stars, how is it already 4 o'clock? Caleb chuckled. Time flies when you're blinded by sequins. I laughed. Just wait until the fashion show starts. He feigned a groan. Guess I should have brought a pair of sunglasses. It's the best part, I hurried to add, and it's the last event of the day. Caleb's eyebrows lifted, and I smiled. That part seemed to appeal to him. He was being a good sport, but I knew he was counting down the minutes till we could leave and head across town to Luna, where we had dinner reservations for 2. We'd been at the convention center since 10 o'clock that morning, and while we ducked out for a quick lunch, it had been a lot of walking and schmoozing. Not to mention the slight irritation of having a bunch of virtual strangers poking at our happy new couple bubble with hints that we should be joining the engaged masses. We'd started dating 6 months ago, and we're taking things slow, and happy about it, thank you very much. Let's head over to the runway and make sure we get good seats, I told Caleb, waving politely to the booth's host as we left. The fashion show was the central event of the entire weekend, and I knew seats would be scarce. Out of fairness, the show's organizers refused to take reservations and went by a first-come, first-seated approach. We found seats in the 3rd row, and I saved them while Caleb went off in search of beverages. I smiled after him as the crowd of giddy brides and put-out grooms swallowed him up. Never in a million years had I thought I'd ever find someone willing to tag along to the veritable circus of the annual wedding convention. It hadn't even crossed my mind as something to wish for when dreaming up a future partner. And yet there he was, stepping into my life in the most unexpected of ways and filling some gap I hadn't even known was there. The whole thing was especially surreal considering we'd met in the middle of a murder investigation. The mother of the groom was attacked during the rehearsal dinner of a wedding I was planning, and the fallout threatened to upend my entire career. Caleb and his partner Jessica were the SPA agents to arrive on scene and take over the case. Due to the high-profile nature of the investigation, I ended up working closely alongside Caleb, while simultaneously trying to get my bride and groom back on the road to happily ever after in the wake of such a tragedy. Yet, despite the dark circumstances, I couldn't help but be attracted to the handsome agent, and by some stroke of luck, he returned my love-struck feelings. We went on a handful of dates, and it wasn't long after the investigation closed that he asked me to be his girlfriend, which sounds a lot more after-school special than it really was. The only real crimp in the whole thing was our dueling work schedules. Caleb's life as an SPA agent meant odd hours, long nights, and constantly being on call. My work as a wedding planner didn't comprise of defeating bad guys or squashing deadly plots, but the urgency often made it feel as though it did. My day planner was so overstuffed with notes that I had to put an elastic band around the cover to keep everything together. I supposed it was something of a metaphor for my life. I was type A and organized to the nth degree, but somehow there always seemed to be 1 or 2 aspects threatening to fly out of control if I wasn't careful. Which is what led us to having a date at the wedding convention in the first place. Caleb returned with a frazzled look and 2 white paper cups full of a light pink punch. "It's a zoo over there," he said, sliding into the seat beside me. As he handed over my cup of punch, I saw he had a dark patch on his shirt sleeve. He caught my glance and frowned. "Yeah, I ended up wearing the first cup. The vendor next door was announcing some door prize, and the lady in front of me must have been the winner. She started jumping around, waving her ticket in the air, and... well," I cringed. "I'm sorry. Not to sound leave it to Beaver, but do you happen to know any cleaning spells?" he asked hopefully. "Sorry, no," I replied with a twinge of guilt. Harmony knows kitchen spells, but she's as much of a disaster as I am when it comes to laundry spells. We do things the old-fashioned way. You might try club soda." "It's all right," he said, taking a sip of his punch. He gave a surprised look of appreciation and quickly took another drink. "Stuff's pretty loaded, huh?" "Industry secret," I said with a laugh. "Brides are a lot more fun when they've had a little bubbly. Soothes the nerves." Caleb chuckled. "I wouldn't think alcohol and high-strung emotions would be a good mix."